The opening scene of the film takes place in New York in 1904, where a group of firefighters enters a mysterious room that is completely frozen. They find several people frozen solid and standing still. Their attention is then drawn to a woman who is holding a metallic orb and is not frozen. As they approach her, she suddenly awakens, causing all the frozen people to shatter into powder. And suddenly, they seem to awaken an evil being. In the present, we see ghost hunters riding their specialized car, chasing a spirit in the streets of New York City. Gary, Callie, Phoebe, and Trevor aim to hunt down a sewer dragon. Phoebe suddenly exits the car from her special seat, attempting to subdue the spirit with her weapon, albeit with little success. Meanwhile, Trevor deploys a special remote control to capture the spirit. Callie, their mother, takes charge using a drone to track the spirit in the sky until successfully capturing it. Finally, Gary skillfully brings the car to a stop, with one hand on the steering wheel. Following their summons by the mayor of New York, he warns them that if they disrupt the city's order in such a manner again and cause chaos everywhere to capture a soul, he will not allow them to continue their job. He also mentions that he will seal off their residence, which is actually a fire station. Specifically, he warns not to involve Phoebe in their missions as she is not of legal age. Following their summons by the mayor of New York, he warns them that if they disrupt the city's order in such a manner again and cause chaos everywhere to capture a soul, he will not allow them to continue their job. He also mentions that he will seal off their residence, which is actually a fire station. Specifically, he warns not to involve Phoebe in their missions as she is not. She then discovers some cute and funny marshmallow creatures that are actually haunted and do funny things. Afterwards, a man named Nadim visits Dr. Ray Stantz's shop and gives him a strange metal orb, similar to the one we saw at the beginning of the movie, saying he inherited it from his grandmother. Dr. Ray begins initial examinations on the ancient artifact with a device that detects supernatural entities when suddenly the ground starts shaking, causing the device to spark and malfunction. He realizes that the object can drastically lower temperatures and decides to buy it from Nadim. Meanwhile, a scene is shown of New York City starting to freeze over. Trevor notices a sticky substance dripping from the ceiling. Then he grabs the soul-trapping device. When he entered the room, he noticed a chubby green-colored ghost lying under a pile of garbage. As soon as the ghost realized Trevor's presence, it scrambled to escape and passed by Trevor's body. After Gary and Callie left to capture another ghost, they didn't take Phoebe along and left her on her own. Phoebe went to a park and played chess with herself, only to realize someone was moving the pieces and playing with her. Then, the spirit of a girl appeared before her eyes and started talking to her. She introduced herself as Melody and was surprised that Phoebe wasn't afraid of her. Phoebe learned a few things about spirits from her and seemed to become friends with her. In order to investigate a malfunctioning device in the fire station, experts are called in to determine the cause of the device freezing. Winston and Mrs. Melnitz, both of them are experienced ghost hunters, introduce them to a special place, which happens to be their personal workshop, where they specialize in storing, testing, and even extracting spirits from objects using a special device. Also, Dr. Ray brought the peculiar metal orb for further examination. They then become familiar with some of these ghosts, including one with a cool appearance but green vomit, and another ghost that can possess lifeless objects and control them. After Phoebe was abandoned by Gary and her mother again, she decided to call her friend to team up and go hunting for ghosts together. Meanwhile, Winston's colleagues in the workshop decided to place the metal orb inside the device to extract the possessed soul from the object, but strange things happened. Even when they tried to remove it, the freezing temperature of the metal orb caused their hands to freeze. Later, Phoebe and her friend went to a place where they witnessed a soul turning into a physical form, and to their surprise, Phoebe saw her friend Melody. She shot at Melody to help her escape. After this incident, Melody approached the window, and Phoebe told her that she didn't intend to shoot her. She just wanted to help her escape. Phoebe then realizes why Melody's soul was trapped there. She had come to see her family, and the reason for her stay was a match, an item that kept her in this world. Melody also reveals to Phoebe the reason for her death, stating that she and her family died in a fire accident and then disappeared. The scene then shows the city freezing over again, followed by Melody walking alone in the darkness, when a sinister creature with a terrifying voice reveals that Melody actually works for it and plans to deceive Phoebe. In the next scene, Trevor tries to capture the spectral green creature by sprinkling some snack on the ground, but an earthquake caused by the evil entity's activity throws him off guard. Meanwhile, in Winston's specialized laboratory, people are examining the orb and discussing its chilling sub-zero temperature property. Metal Orb also possesses a mysterious quality that even the hunted marshmallows fears, and making them feel unwell. Trevor and his friends decide to go to Nadim's house to learn more about the secrets of this metallic orb. Nadim leads them to a room where his grandmother's belongings are kept, and they see various special items, including 2 horns that likely belong to a malevolent creature. For further investigation into the hacked lines on the metal orb, Phoebe convinces Dr. Ray to go with them and research it together. They, along with Dr. Ray's assistant Podcast, go to a library where they meet a person named Dr. Hubert. When they show him a picture of the orb, he says that the script belongs to the Sumerian era, and only 7 people in the country have the ability to read its words and translate them. He then brings a large book and tells them the story of the metallic orb. About 4,000 years ago, a man named Garaka served a bloodthirsty king named Samudari, helping him conquer a part of Central Asia. Following Garaka's ambitions, the king chained him and cut his horns, the source of his power. However, Garaka rebelled and ultimately raised an army of the undead for himself. But in the end, the Lords of Fire breaks the spell of the frozen curse and defeated him and imprisoned him in the metallic orb. Dr. Hubert played an audio tape of events that had caused people to freeze. But suddenly the possessing spirit entered and stole the audio loop. In pursuit of this evil imposter, the ghost just entered the body of a lion statue and took control. But Phoebe cleverly shot him in time and got rid of him. After this incident, they were again reprimanded by the mayor and told they were not allowed to continue their activities and the place would be sealed off. Phoebe felt upset due to lack of support and harsh treatment from everyone. When they arrived at their fire station, they were faced with a police tape sealing the location. They got ready to possibly leave from there. But Nadim arrived at the station and Dr. Ray told him, possibly he and his ancestors was the Fire Lord and they needed him. He then trained to control fire as Fire Lords instinctively have such abilities. Finally, he realized he could control fire with his own hands. In the following, Phoebe once again talks with Melody, who has a plan for her. She deceives Phoebe to enter the soul separation device and momentarily establish a better connection with the Melody. However, since Garaka doesn't have the ability to control humans, Phoebe, with the deception of Melody, gives the power to Garaka so that he can use her soul. Garaka then breaks free from his own lock inside the orb and steps into the world. Lucky tries to stop him by using a special weapon to hunt the spirit, but to her utmost surprise, the weapon's rays frozen with Garaka's power. Garaka immediately rushes to the Nadim house, where his own branches are part of Nadim's grandmother's legacy. He lifts his branches and regains his own power again. In the next scene, while everyone was busy enjoying themselves on the beach, suddenly a strange and terrifying wave of cold and ice enveloped the city with a mass of dark clouds. Phoebe was blaming herself for trusting a spirit, although her mother Callie and also Gary assured her it wasn't her fault. Nadim then showcased his fire-controlling ability to everyone. They all geared up to battle the Garaka. Phoebe's intelligence shone as she realized the Garaka's prison was made of brass. Utilizing some brass into her weapon, they prepared for the confrontation. Meanwhile, Peter, another seasoned Ghostbusters, joined them. Then the malevolent ghost whom possessing objects enters through the door again and tries to torment the Ghostbusters by taking control of their car. In the following scenes, Melody apologizes to Phoebe for what happened and explains that she was forced to do it because Garaka promised to help her bring back her parents' spirits. At that moment, Garaka appears, unleashing a cold wave towards everyone. The Ghostbusters are all together and armed. They try shooting at him together, but their weapon beam neutralizes their efforts. Next, Nadim approaches with his charismatic and alluring appearance, attempting to reason with Garaka while trying to ignite his lighter, only to find it broken due to prior training mishaps. Garaka then takes the lighter and freezes everything around with his cold powers, causing everyone to freeze almost dry. He then splits the ground, unleashing a red beam into the sky, freeing the trapped spirits. Meanwhile, Phoebe tries to stop Garaka using a weapon she crafted with brass to confront him, but is not very successful, and Garaka forces her to freeze as well. Suddenly, Melody impulsively throws a small piece of fire towards Nadim, who instinctively gains control of the fire and attacks Garaka with it, causing discomfort and turning the ice back into water. Dr. Ray suggests reducing the mass and energy density to regain power, and they manage to reach a device inside the station. After a struggle, they finally push the device button down, weakening all the spirits, including Garaka. They become weak and disappear into the ground, successfully saving the world once again. In the end, Melody bids farewell in the final moments with Phoebe handing her a matchstick before disappearing. Then, all people welcome the Ghostbusters, calling out their names. Meanwhile, the mayor of New York is forced to support them, and once again, the sewage dragon ghost appears. This time, Trevor sits behind the wheel, and with his mother set out to chase the ghosts. In the final scene of the film, the adorable hunted marshmallows take control of a truck belongs to Puffin Marshmallow Company car, which produces marshmallows, and the driver goes after them. This is how the film ends.